Yeah. Oh yes, we're live.
Hello, my name is John Chambers. This is Tamar Chambers. We're coming to you with another emotive subject, topical as it has been, and we're live on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
That needs adjusting because it's dark that side, isn't it? So I don't know.
Pull the thing
camera down a
forward.
bit.
Yeah.
There you go, a bit more.
That's a little bit more actually.
Right. So let's get right into it. Send your comments through as you wish.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, but we're going to look at the comments really from Facebook.
Yeah, mostly.
So because we're not really going to have the opportunity to be able to look at them from YouTube at the same time. So if you want to comment, and it would be absolutely fantastic, awesome. If you do, you are very welcome. Chip in as much as you like. Send your comments through and say what you want to say. So I'm going to start right off with a question, which probably I'm going to have a different answer than Tamar might have. So my question is this. They've pulled down the statue of this Colson, is it?
Yeah.
In Bristol. And there are people who are now talking about pulling down the legacy of Winston Churchill and others. They're talking about others around the country, former prime ministers, etc., who were racist, who had there's various. So they want to pull down their statues and stuff.
Yeah.
Do I agree? Do I think it's a good idea to pull down the statues? No, I do not.
Now I know why you said I might not.
Because Tamar's probably going to have a different view. But you see, again, we're different generations, so it's all of that. And that's why this is good. I don't think that it does any good pulling down the statue simply because of this. That if that's all you do, and you don't then take the time to educate people about the reason why you have pulled down that statue and what that person actually stood for, and prove your point, all you've done is an act of vandalism.
Yeah.
And yes, there are going to be some people who know, or they say, this person was racist, pull down the statue. But if I were then to ask them, can you explain to me what it was that they did and said, and show me in history the impact of what they did and said, some of them wouldn't be able to do that.
No, they wouldn't.
And that's where the problem is. So pulling down a statue on in and of itself, that alone, no, I disagree. As for the issue of Winston Churchill, I've got some things to say about him and like I said, about the whole thing of the white advantage versus black disadvantage, white privilege, if you like. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Let Tamar tell you her view.
Well,
30 years difference here. So
yep. I personally, I do understand what Dad is saying about, obviously, it is kind of an act of vandalism, pulling down the statue. And I know for a fact that there's lots of people that probably don't even really know why they were helping to pull down the statue. They don't know the actual history of the person that maybe they're pulling down the statue of. But I still think it's good because I don't agree with the fact that they have statues in the first place. I don't think it's right that they're glorified and put on this like pedestal, because they are on a little pedestal, because it's up
literally
it's like on a big thing, isn't it? And I don't think it's right, because why are we glorifying these people when is there any statues of Hitler here? No. Is there any in Germany? No. Yeah, and I don't think Germany would even try that one, because could you imagine? They would get cussed off so hard. It's a joke. Yeah, so I personally, I do feel like, yes, it's bad to vandalize, but I think those statues need to come down. If it's not by, maybe if they don't want the people to do it, the government themselves need to take them statues down, even just to show respect, basically. That's how I feel. I feel like, yeah, they should get dragged down. So they should get dragged off, man.
Radical. So Tamar thinks that those statues should be taken down. I think it's not that important. I'm not saying that I glorify the statues by any means. There's no way, obviously. But vandalizing them or not, it kind of doesn't matter if you don't know the reasoning.
Mm.
And the thing is that we need, you know, I'm sat here doing this with my daughter, 2 different generations. I'm doing this deliberately to push her because this lady is going to become a very active voice for our people. I'm already an active voice. I'm not that old yet, but I'm you know, I'm on my way. What do they call middle-aged or whatever? So, you know, and she's young, so she's gonna be the voice of the youth, and she's, you know, Chambers' voice can make a lot of noise when we're ready. And sometimes it's necessary to make that noise. So here's my thing, that we need to make sure that people understand what has happened, that people understand the consequences of what has gone on over the years, and why there is a difference between black and white people in terms of our lifestyle, expectations, etc. So that's what we're talking about today. White privilege versus black disadvantage.
Yeah.
So, interestingly enough, there was a post I responded to on Facebook about Winston Churchill. And basically they were glorifying Winston Churchill, saying he was a great man and did much for the UK, so on and so forth. Ugh. And I said, listen, I said, Winston Churchill didn't do jack for me.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Exactly.
For me. Me, John Chambers, the black man, Winston Churchill did nothing for me. So somebody commented back and said, you can't be serious in making that comment, because had he not been who he was and did what he did, we would have all been speaking German. And this was a white person. So I thought, good, you've put your foot directly inside your mouth now by making that comment. Right? So here was my answer, and here is what I have to say. The English, the white people, the British, they were bothered and worried about being invaded by Germans, overtaken and forced into a German culture, German mindset, and German language.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's very nice. But they went to Africa, they went to India, they went to Australia and other places, but I'm naming those just as the major places.
Yeah.
They almost wiped out the Aborigines and took over Australia. Until today, people think Australia is a white man's country.
Yeah.
It is not, it was not, and it should not be.
Yeah.
It is not a white man's country, it's a black man's country.
And they're still treated
And they
badly.
slaughtered the Aborigines there and made them less than even second-class citizens. They went into Africa, and here's the facts. Because they've talked so much about, well, slavery, you know, that's old and it's past and all of that. That's fine. But what did they do? They went into the most affluent parts of Africa at that time, which were already ruling themselves in their own style, with their own languages, their own political systems, their own medical systems, and all the rest that goes with it. They went there and said, no, we're white, we are superior, and we are going to make you slaves. All right? That slavery by the Europeans and the British wasn't the first and only, but it was probably the most reprehensible.
Yeah. Because
it still continues until today, and this is the issue. They went there, they made slaves of Africans, they took them and ripped them from their country, ripped them from their heritage, from their language, from their legacy, from their roots, placed them as slaves in the West Indies, in the main, and some in Britain itself, and then made those people to begin to assimilate into English culture.
Yep.
I'm speaking to you in English, not by choice. I'm speaking to you in English because this is the language that I learned first. Because I'm here in England because of my Jamaican parents, who our foreparents were slaves. Right? My great grandfather was a slave. I know that. Not even that far back.
No, it's not. And that's the thing. It's not very far
See,
back.
my great grandfather was a slave in Jamaica. The people who owned the slaves on my mother's side, the slave owner, his blood is in my mother's family. Right? So I know. His blood is in my mother's family. That's why even the very little piece, the little land that they've got there, that's why they got it. Because that land was the slave owner's land. They were his slaves. Even the very surname that I have, Chambers, it's from the slave master.
Slave master.
From my father's side.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm speaking English because wherever we were in Africa, ancestrally, it was invaded.
Yeah.
And we were forced to come out from there and come into another culture.
Yep.
And that's exactly the thing that they're glorifying Winston Churchill for stopping while they were busy doing the same thing in India, in Africa, and so forth. Until today, we're speaking English as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is now the thing that people then want to say, shh, don't talk about that. But they talk, they have a memorial every year to remember the war and to remember how they fought and they kept Hitler away from their shores.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about the Africans who didn't have the opportunity to keep those white men away from their shores because the Africans trusted them, believed them, and shared with them?
Mm.
Because that's how we are as a people. We are caring, we are sharing. But look at the results. Yeah. Now that white privilege has continued from then until now.
Until now.
Because the legacy of slavery is this, that they stole the people from Africa. Mm-hmm. They took the strongest, the fittest, the best of the stock from Africa.
Yep.
And then when slavery was abolished, so to speak, and they could no longer take slaves from Africa, for some few years they were still breeding slaves within the plantations. So they didn't rip any more from Africa, but they left Africa devastated. They then began to systematically drain the resources from the land. So now, even if you have companies in Africa, they're owned by white people from Europe, from USA, from UK, and so forth. They own they own those companies. So they then pay less than a decent living wage to the workers.
Yeah.
So that they can then take the resources out of the country to make products, where they take them out and take them out as a raw material and begin to use them to make products abroad. And then now they prosper from that endeavor.
That's like the chocolate industry.
With the cocoa, that's right. And the black people are the ones who are actually suffering still.
Mm-hmm.
Then in turn, they'll give them a loan as the form of aid and tell them they have to pay back, but they're loaning them their own money, which they took, and won't give back to them, but they're telling we'll give it back to you as a loan.
Yeah.
So those are just the wider scope of the privilege, the white privilege versus black disadvantage. Right? Because that was from then and it's still continuing until today. The legacy of slavery is still continuous.
Yeah.
So on my Facebook, I posted, I said, look at the song, Rule Britannia. Rule Britannia. Britannia rule the waves. Britons never will be slaves. But Africans is okay to be slaves. Indians is okay for them to be slaves. Aborigines is okay for them to be slaves. But Britons never will be slaves. It's in the song. I'll never. They've told me sing the song. I told them drop dead. Me, I can't sing that song. It is a satanic prophecy.
100%.
And you won't have me singing that song.
Yeah, because
they made other people slaves and it was okay, but they're prophesying from their mouths. We will not be slaves.
Yeah.
But why should we have been slaves then? Go on, Tamar. You can talk more about the statistics.
Oh, the statistics. Well, I was doing some research on Sunday actually, and I found this website that's basically it's called the Ultimate White Privilege Statistics and Data Post. These are basically statistics that show the white supremacy over the black disadvantage.
And this is USA, yeah?
Yeah, this is USA, yeah. Hold on. Right. It's just loading. Yeah, so it says on here, in New York City, this is in New York City, white people comprise 44% of the population, and blacks and Latinos comprise 53%. Then it says between 2005 and 2008, 80% of NYPD stops and searches were of blacks and Latinos. Only 10% of those stops were whites. 85% of those frisked were black. Only 8% were white. 24% of blacks and Latinos had force used against them by the NYPD, compared to only 17% of white people. And that's just a few. There's loads more on here. When I mean loads, I mean loads. Like there's even different subsections and everything for you to see the different statistics and see the advantage that they have, because this is real. These statistics are real. And this just shows you that, you know, in small ways, people think it doesn't mean anything. Well, more, when I say people, I mean more white people. The ignorant white people think that these statistics don't mean anything. They say, oh, well, that doesn't mean anything. You know, lots of white people are stopped by the police. Lots of, what's your point? What's your point? Yeah, and I even...
Lots of white people are stopped by the police. Glad you said that. Just wait. I want to give you some statistics. Now, these are the statistics of the government of the UK, by the way. They're not John Chambers statistics. Right? I didn't make them up. These are the statistics of the government. Now, let me give you stop and search statistics from the government. And I'll give you the statistics that they've looked at for ethnicity.
Yeah.
So it shows that for every 4 white people stopped, there were 38 black people stopped and searched. Yeah. So let me repeat that. For every, I don't know what that says.
I'll have a look.
For every 4 white people stopped, 38 black people were stopped and searched. The black groups are the highest rate of stop and search of any. Okay, so that's just one thing, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about the stop and search, even in terms of what actually has happened to people, because I've got my own stories, and I'm sure others have got stories as well of what's actually happened to them. You know, during the stop and search, and how they've been treated and things like that. And imagine, as we quite could imagine, the Metropolitan Police are the ones who have the highest rate of stop and search in the country. So,
well, I'm not even
which is no surprise at all.
Everybody knows.
And then I was surprised that but then when I thought about the area, it made sense. Dorset, which I've been to, and it's like there's very few black people there. Black people in Dorset are 25 times more likely to be stopped than white people. So in other words, the Dorset police, as far as they're concerned, if you're black, they don't want to see you there.
Yeah.
So as soon as they see a black person there and they have the opportunity to stop and search, they do. Yeah. So black people, 25 times more likely to be searched in Dorset. According to them, don't go there.
Yeah, that's what they're basically telling you. Don't go there.
Right? Black people had the highest stop and search rates in every police force area for which there was data. So these you can't make these things up. This is what it is. These are their own statistics. That's just stop and search. Okay. If we talk about custody in prison, And this the sentencing. This is another issue. Let me just give you the statistics on this on how they dispose of offenders differently. Black offenders account for 10.4% of all offenders sentenced for indictable offences. Right? 10.4%. So the rest, 79.3% were white, and then the rest is broken down amongst other ethnicities.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the ratio. It's only just over 10% of offenders are black. So though there's only just over 10% of the offenders who are black, the statistics show something different.
Yeah.
Juvenile offenders, black offenders, had the highest custody rate.
Of course.
So that is all those who are up to the age of 20, they're sending them to prison. If they're black, they're sending them straight. They're not giving them other opportunities. They're sending them to prison more than any others, as long as they're black. Because it puts them already on that deleterious pathway from the beginning.
Of course.
And these are some of the things, these are the issues that we need to look at. Female offenders were the lowest of all, of course. But like I said, the issue of custodial sentences, who gets what and how long is what, these now are some of the issues. Immediate custody was the most common disposal for all. And interestingly enough, Asians and blacks are the highest for custodial sentences. And like I said, we can't make these things up.
No, we can't.
There is a difference. There is a difference in privilege. There's a difference in who gets what and how they're treated. Black offenders had the highest custody rates for possession of weapons, 37.9%, and violence against the person, 51.3%. And white offenders have the highest custody rate for sexual offences at 60.9%. So 60.9% of all sexual offenders are white. I'll leave it there. I'm not going to even comment and say anything further about that. But I'm just showing you a little, and there's more to come. We'll mention more.
Yeah.
Because we want to get into this issue a little bit of white privilege, black disadvantage. Where does it show up? We know it shows up in the stop and search. I can, I mean, I'm sure there are others who, if they want to comment, they can comment, and we can mention what they've said. As a youth, I had to bring my driving license, my insurance, my MOT, because all those things in those days are on paper. I had to have them all in my glove box. Because when I used to drive in London, and I've always driven nice cars from day one, because that's just me. From day one, everywhere I went in London, I was stopped.
Of course. Every
corner I turned, literally, you'll drive down one road and go to another, you're stopped again. Same question, is this your car, sir? Always the same foolishness. And I'd be asking them, why are you asking?
Yeah. Why are you
Well,
asking
it's just a routine stop.
But it's not.
Right? And this is from when I was 17, 18 years old, long time ago. So I was used to it from then. Now, here's the interesting thing. I'm a long way from 17 and 18 now, but just a few months ago, I was stopped by police here in Leeds. I was followed by an unmarked car. I didn't know why this car is following me. I've overtaken the car. I didn't speed. I just overtook the car, which is quite normal to do. It's your choice.
Yeah.
I overtook the car and I pulled back in because I wanted to come off a slip road. Then I noticed that this car behind me is literally on my tail. So I'm thinking, what is this? Who is this person and why are they on my tail?
Mm.
I didn't realize that it's police because it was an unmarked car and I couldn't see the person inside the car as such. So I'm thinking, why are you sticking with me? So I decided to do a little duck and dive to see what's going on with this person behind me.
Yeah.
So I swung around a roundabout. I went down one road, came around and this car is sticking to me like glue. So I'm thinking, why is this car sticking to me like glue? So I said, okay, when I get off this next slip road, I'm going to lick my foot down and we're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So now, as soon as I got off the slip road and decided now I'm going to step on it, and I still wasn't over the speed limit, but I was just right next to this car. Now all of a sudden, straight on my tail, keeping with me at where I'm going. And then the blue lights come on because now I was leaving him.
Yeah.
So I pulled over immediately, and and I'm going to say all this for the sake of young men as well who may get stopped and will get stopped. Let's not even say may.
Will.
For all our black young men who are going to be stopped by the police, I'm saying this for them as well. When he stopped me, because it's nothing new to me. I've been going through it for like 40 years or whatever. I said, okay, cool. I know where this is going and how this goes. I wound my window all the way down. I sat there calmly with my hands on display and I waited for him to come. Mm-hmm. So he came to the car. I kept my hands where they were, where he could see me. And I said, yes, how can I help you? No anger in my voice, no disrespect, nothing, just calm and cool. He said, did you see anything wrong with your driving? I said, clearly not. I said, well, you tell me if there was something wrong with my driving, you tell me. I said, you've stopped me.
Yeah.
So what did you stop me for? So he hesitated and was looking at me. And while he's looking at me, he's looking, because he'd obviously keyed in my registration and so forth. So he's looking to see if there's anything. Then he asked me, can you give me your name? Now, I've seen a lot of guys start with all of this. What do you want my name for? Don't ask me my name and all of this. Your name is your name.
Yeah.
And also, you already know that in a lot of cases, they're waiting for an excuse. I'm not giving you my name. Move from me. Don't talk to me. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. You're being resistive. That's what they want.
Yeah.
I got nothing to hide and I've done nothing wrong. So I gave the man my name. It's cool because he keyed that in because he's checking, because he wants to check against the registration of the car. That, and check if I've got MOT and insurance and so forth. All those things are what they're doing. So you with your awkward self, don't ask me my name. I'm not giving you my name. Move from me. They're not going to move from you. They've already stopped you.
No, they're not.
So you're just making things more difficult for yourself than necessary by behaving like that. Mm-hmm. I was cool because I told the guy I've done nothing wrong. So you chat your chat. When you finish, then we'll know, isn't it? So he said, well, actually, no. I said, have I committed a crime then? He said, no. He said, well, do you remember when you overtook me? I said, yeah, I do remember when I overtook you. I said, what was wrong with it? I said, I wasn't speeding. Mm-hmm. He said, no, I didn't say you were speeding. I said, no, you couldn't do because I wasn't. Mm-hmm. I said, yeah. He said, but then afterwards you were driving erratically. I said, yes, I was driving erratically because you were on my tail and didn't come off. Yeah. And I didn't know who you were. I said, well, why? And right? Oh, well, so why would you feel that somebody would be following you? I said, but you were following me. I didn't feel that somebody was following me. You were following me. And I don't know why you were following me. Exactly. And I don't know who you were.
And you mean you don't know someone who's following you? You're not going to just be there. Oh, some strange. Let me just carry on. Everybody does that.
So I asked him, I said, what did you want me to do? Just carry on as if there's nothing going on behind me. Again, no answer.
No answer. Mm.
So I said, okay. I said, so are we done then? Well, yes. Just next time, think about how you're driving. So I repeated to him, because although I can be humble, I'm not an idiot. Mm-hmm. I repeated to him, yes, but I was not speeding.
Yes, they do.
Right? I said, so there's no crime.
Exactly.
And he just looked at me, and if he was a Jamaican, he would have gone.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, I knew he wanted to do that.
He wanted to.
Because what I told him is facts. I said, well, I didn't commit a crime because I wasn't speeding and I wasn't driving dangerously.
Yeah.
All right, have a nice day. And he walked off. I closed my window, and I'll tell you the truth, I must have hit an interesting speed going away from there. That's all. I'm on camera, so I'm not saying what speed. I hit an interesting speed to get away. So those things are real. But, you know, I see sometimes that guys, you know, they make an issue of it with the police themselves. Don't bother.
Yeah, they do.
Because you already know that you're going to be at a disadvantage. So just be cool.
There's even there's a video, and people actually laugh at this video. That's the funniest thing. There's a video of this white man, and he's drunk, basically, and the police officer is, you know, trying to speak to him. And he's saying, give me your name and address. And then the man is saying, oh, no, I'm not giving my name and address. And the police officer is saying, give me your name and address now. Then he said, oh, all right, it's Shamana, you know, giving some fake. Yeah. So then the police officer's like, if you don't give me your name and address right now, you're under arrest. The guy was like, all right. But the man was like, you're under arrest. Yeah, so you see, these things, if you don't give your name, you're causing more, what's the word? You're causing them to become more
aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive, like, erratic in their
more
decisions.
Yeah,
more suspicious of you, because they're wondering, you know, well, why don't you want to give your name? Is there something on your record that you don't want me to see? Is there, you know, are you wanted? What's going on? That's what they'll be thinking in their head, because already you have to remember their mindset is programmed to that direction, to be suspicious and to look into what you're doing and your behavior and how you're acting. So if you're acting aggressive and erratic, they're going to be thinking, well, this person is obviously aggressive and erratic because they're hiding something, or they don't want to be arrested, or, you know. I don't know what Simone's put there.
Just carry on talking.
Yeah, you don't want to be, they're thinking, you don't want to be arrested, or you don't want them to know something about you, and that's why you don't want to give your name. All those things are what give them, like Dad said, the excuse to then behave a certain type of way, or decide, well, that's it then. You're coming into custody just because, you know, you won't give your name. So there's no point acting acting irate or being rude to them. There's just no point, because it doesn't work in your favor. It only disadvantages you and makes them more suspicious than they already are. And there's no need for them to be more suspicious.
This is the whole thing of what we're saying about white privilege versus black disadvantage, that there is already a mindset within them. Now, Simone had put there and said that when she had reported to the police of being called a nigger, and the police told her not to bother to follow up the report because it would just make things worse. As in other words, the people will still continue to harass her and antagonize her. And yeah, if it was the other way around, there will be no issue or argument about what the police would want to do. Again, personal example, because I've got lots, because I've lived this thing, and that's why I'm speaking about it. Many years ago, I had gone. Those in the days when we used to still get DVDs, you know, from is it Blockbusters or whatever it was?
Yeah.
So I'd gone to Blockbusters. I parked my car outside, where there wasn't actually anything saying that you can't park there, but it's just that now the buses, which were a little bit further up, if they came down, they're now going to have to just go around my car a bit to carry on. So a white bus driver, came into Blockbusters, and there was a big shop full of people. He must have already seen me park the car there. So, and he shouts from the door, "Oi, whose car is that parked out there? Is it your car?" Talking to me like he's speaking to something that he would scrape off the bottom of his shoe. So I turned around and looked at him over my shoulder and said, "Yeah, just a minute, mate. I'm coming right out, and I'll move it." I said, "But it isn't actually an obstruction. Don't matter whether you think it's an obstruction or not, you can't park it there. And if you don't move it now, I'm clamping it." So I told him, I said, "You can see what I'm doing." I said, "I'll be out immediately." "No, I don't care." This is how the white man is talking to me. So out he goes, out and straight with his clamp, and rushes to go clamp the car. So I then now had finished what I was doing, and I came out and he's trying to clamp it. So I went over to him and I said to him, don't put that clamp on there. Shut your mouth, you black bastard. Don't tell me what to do.
You see?
Now, I've told you before, those who've listened to me before, me, I'm not like some people. I don't play games too much. So my man told me what he told me. So I walked over and I kicked the clamp out of his hand. I didn't kick him. I kicked the clamp. I was very careful and specific to kick the clamp. So he didn't like that because he had to go running across the road to pick it up. So he's there mumbling and grumbling and carrying on. He ran back over.
Of course he knows.
I'm calling the police on you. I'm gonna tell them that you assaulted me. I said, I didn't touch you, mate.
You see?
Right? And then before he went, he ran and he smashed one of my front lights and ran off. So I said, okay, there's nothing, because I said, I know that he's trying to bait me to go and bruck him up.
Yeah.
So I said, it's all right. I'll just leave him. He called the police. And how do I know that he called the police? Because before I got home, it's like God himself told me, go somewhere else first. So I decided when I left from where I was, I went to go and see a friend quickly to do something and then go home. So the neighbors told me that 6 police cars turned up at my yard.
6? What kind
right?
of...
And they couldn't find me.
I don't know what stories he was...
Because the neighbor rang me and said that 6 police... So I rang the police straight. And I said to them, my name is John Chambers. I heard you just gone with 6 cars to my yard. Why did you go there? What were you looking for? I said, oh, you've been reported you assaulted, blah, 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 blah. I said, is there any witnesses, CCTV or anything? No, it's his word against you. I said, where is that man now? I said, because he smashed my light. I said, and the light is still smashed. I've not fixed it yet. I said, you can come and look and take a picture as evidence of what he did. Right? So they said, oh, so you're saying that he, and I explained what happened. I said, well, I'm available if you want me to come to the station. But now, because I made a counterclaim against the white man and told them to come and take the picture, until today, I'm still waiting for them. And this is many years ago. Bedford police by then were notoriously racist. And I'm still waiting for them to come until today. Come and take the picture. They never did.
You see?
They never did. But they were taking the white man at his word and sending 6 police cars to my yard to come and collect me until I set them straight. That's number 1. Number 2, I'll give you another one. When I was working as a prison officer, my car was parked in my house, in the drive, front of my house. Right? And the gates were closed. One of the cons never liked me, so he sent his friend to come and mash up my car. So he told the guy where I lived, because he knew where I lived in Cambridge at the time. And the guy came with a brick and flung it through the windscreen and ran off. I didn't actually see him do the action of throwing the brick through the windscreen, but I heard when it hit the windscreen, and I saw him. I saw when the brick dropped, and I saw when he ran back through the gate and ran up the road. And I had a white neighbor who was across the road, an old guy who was sitting in his window, and he saw everything. But we'll come to him in a minute. So, like I said, and I'll keep saying, and people who know me, they already know, me, let me put it in Jamaican vernacular, I'm not skin deep with people.
Yeah.
I jumped in that same car with the mashed up windscreen and I ran him, I drove the guy down and I caught him.
Of course.
And I got someone to ring the police at the same time. And I grabbed that guy and I pinned him to the floor. And I said, you ain't going nowhere. Right? And I gave him a couple of straighteners. Right? So that he will know he's not going anywhere. waiting for the police. And we waited there. But here's the joke of all of this. whoever it was, I can't remember who I said ring the police. They rang the police. When the police came, because they gave the description, oh, this is a guy, he's a Jaguar Sovereign, blah, 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 that's been, the windscreen has been smashed by a criminal. When the police came, they came rushing to grip me.
Yeah, you see.
Right? Why? Because I was black and the guy who I had pinned down was white.
So to them,
so they thought that
you're the criminal.
am the criminal and the white man is Mr. Chambers. And I stopped them. I said, yo, I said, don't put your hands on me. I said, I'm no criminal. I said, this is a friend of somebody who's locked up in the prison where I work. I said, he's the criminal. I said, and I've apprehended him, which I'm within my rights to do, having the powers of a constable.
Exactly.
Right? And they were like, they didn't even know what to say.
They ain't got nothing
because their dirty little racist mindset made them think that as far as they're concerned, it should be him. He must be Mr. Chambers owning that Jaguar. It can't be the black man.
Yeah, no.
And I'm just aggressive, pinning him down for nothing. So there we are.
Yeah.
That's my stories anyway. Anybody can comment and say what they want, because it's not just about what we're saying, but it's the fact that these things are real. Okay, and whichever way you want to look at it, this is the reality of what it is.
It is the reality. And so many times, like even when I was in school, there were so many times when you would know that a teacher was treating you harshly because you're black. Do you know what I'm saying? You knew. Because of the way that they spoke to you, the way that they acted towards you, it was so aggressive and negative. And you're not even a bad student. You're not even really doing anything particularly bad. Maybe you're talking in class or something, and now you must do some 3-week detention or something. But then another classmate who's like a white girl or a white boy, they're chatting all lesson long, flinging paper, flinging pen across the room, all these types of things, eating food, and you're not supposed to be eating food in class in my school. All these types of things and nothing. The teacher is now blind, to what else is going on in the classroom. And this used to happen all the time. And I mean all the time. Yeah, even in dance, right? We used to have this teacher in dance, and she said to us, this was before we even did the dance, right? She said, oh, get into teams. So we got into our little teams. And of course, in school, you know how it is. You just go with your friends. You go for your friends. You go for those you identify with. Those who look like you. Yeah. So we all went with our friends, and then this other girl, I think 2 other girls who weren't our friends but were in the class, they came into our group as well. And before she said, oh, everybody must make up their own short piece of choreography for the personal parts of the dance, and then we'll all put it together. So before we even started to do the choreography, she came to us and said, girls, by the way, this is contemporary, so no hip hop style dance, no street dance. And I just thought, what? We already knew it was contemporary, because guess what? We were taking the dance class. And we already knew before we took this class, it was a well-known fact that street dance, which once again, this shows the white privilege, street dance was not on the curriculum at all. It wasn't on there. It wouldn't be, would it? Of course not. It was only like contemporary and jazz and those type of things. And she came and said to us, it needs to be contemporary. And still till this day, when I think about that, I just think, you see the rubbish, because why are you coming to us and saying that? And I wouldn't mind, right? But we were actually the good dancers in the class. Yeah, we were actually doing our work properly, doing all these things. So why are you coming to us and chatting this rubbish? It's a black and white thing, and because they can get away with it. Exactly. They can get away with it. And I just had to I just didn't say anything. We just didn't say anything. The whole school, but this is the problem, because the whole school issue, which is where now, the whole point of the education system is that this is where they're raising our children for us.
right? This is why black parents need to educate their children on the realities of life.
Yeah.
Where possible, push for black history
Mm-hmm.
and a black curriculum to
Yeah.
be in the school. And when I say black history, I'm not talking about Black History Month. I mean black
Oh,
history.
man.
That because there's much more to it than just a little Black
Mum.
History Month.
Yeah. Why is it only one
or
month?
telling somebody bring in some curry goat so we can taste it, or some chapatis and naan and some chicken tikka masala.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot more to the cultural dynamics than that.
Exactly.
All right, and these are the things. If I mention one word to many people on here, those who are listening now, most of you won't know. If I say Macaulayism, it probably doesn't mean anything. I will leave you to go and have a look. Tamar, I'll put it up there for people to go and look. Go and Google Macaulayism, because it's something important that black people should know about.
How's it spelled?
Macaulay, Macaulyism. Yeah, Macaulayism.
Mm-hmm.
People need.
Exactly. Black history is longer than a month.
Yes, Black history is the history of the world, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much that people need to know, because when you know your history, you know your heritage, you know your legacy, you understand yourself. And this is the problem, that people are not understanding themselves. So then it takes somebody loudmouth like me to be out there talking these things,
and educating
so
people.
that others can know. And this is the thing.
Yeah, Angelica, you're correct.
Macaulayism.
Somebody said there about.
Oh, okay. Alison has put some of the definition. Right, this is what I'm saying. And I bet most people would have not known about such things. And I know there are some people, preachers included, who would be so happy for me to shut up. There are some preachers I know who are wondering, why is this guy spending his time to go and do Facebook Live and YouTube Live and talk about these things? Why is he not preaching?
Of course,
because they don't understand that this is also preaching.
Of course it is.
Because when we preach, we need to remember that man is made up of spirit, soul, and body. And we can't just concentrate only on the spirit and leave out the soul and the body. Because this body, this physical skin that is black, is the reason why they feel like they don't like us.
Yeah.
Which in actual fact, what it is that they're jealous of this black skin. They take it to make it a disadvantage, whereas it actually is an advantage. Because our melanin is a blessing, it is not a curse. You understand? But we need to preach those things. We need to educate ourselves about those things. We need to educate each other about those things.
Yeah.
That you will not damage my soul because of your jealousy and your envy. You will not bring me down because you think that my color is a curse. My color is a blessing. Exactly. My whole life is a blessing. But we need to teach people those things, because often they don't actually know that. You understand? So they feel as if, well, you're black. Now, let me give you some of the things I was told in school. You're black. You're a troublemaker.
Yeah.
You're a subversive element. I remember that the head of he was the what was he at the time? Deputy head of the school, who many white people thought was a great teacher. I'll not mention his name. Those who know, they'll know who I'm talking about. In my day in secondary school, and many white people have talked about this guy and said he was a great teacher, and he's still alive now, by the way. But I mentioned his name to one black person who was in that same school, but he was in the school before I even came there. And you know what he said to me? He said, "Oh, I remember him." He said, "On the last day of school, when I was now no longer a pupil, I thumped him out. I laughed until I fell off my chair." said, what are you talking about? He said, that man was a racist pig. He said, I knocked him out. This same teacher said to me, you'll never turn out to anything.
Yeah.
You're a troublemaker and you're going to end up in prison and all of these things.
These are the things they
So-
have to say.
We had a school reunion, which, by the way, was organized by me. So I said, good, when I go to this school reunion, I need to turn up looking dangerous. I love my clothes anyway, so I wore a sharp suit, red bow tie, nice diamond cufflinks, shiny shoes. And I drove my car, Jaguar Sovereign, XJ6 Sovereign. Boom! I turned up and I parked it right in front of the gates. So he came out because we'd invited, you know, some of the teachers to the event. And you see, because I'm a little bit wise and I know how these people stay, the event was organized by me, but I used somebody else to front
spread
it.
Yeah, of course.
So he didn't know. So now this nasty heart teacher saw me. Oh, John Chambers, blah blah blah, and he started talking. So I stopped him and I said, do you know who's the organizer of this? Oh yeah, he said, oh, so and so. I said, no. I said, and I called the person who they thought was the organizer and asked them, can you tell him who organized this? And she said, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That was number one. His mouth was open, catching flies. Then he said to me, oh, what are you doing? So I told him, I said, I'm a discipline officer in Her Majesty's Prison Service. He was catching more flies.
Yeah, of course.
He said, and I'm a preacher as well. And I told him I've been to South America on mission, blah, blah, blah. I've been to Guyana, I've been to Barbados, been to Jamaica. He's just looking at me. And I reminded him what he said. I said, you told me that I'd go to prison, didn't you? I said, I do go to prison, right? I said, but I lock people up. I'm not in there being locked away myself. I said, I'm not a criminal, never have been and never will be.
Yeah.
Right? I said, and as you can see, I'm doing pretty well for myself. And I just turned on my heel, walked off and left him standing there. Dirty nastiness.
Yeah, and you know that.
And so you can already know that if that is his mentality and his mindset, then you know what kind of education I'm getting from him.
Yeah.
I might as well not go in his class. I might as well not bother because he's already written me off as trash and rubbish and useless. So then what's the point of sitting in any class where he's even telling you A or B?
Yeah.
Because as long as it's you, he's not telling you anything sensible.
No. Yeah, and you know, it's the truth, because even I watched this documentary. Some of you might know this lady. Her name's Jane Elliott, and she's actually wonderful because
Marissi.
what did she say?
I remember when you first came to Wellingborough and I saw your car, it was like, wow, they are rich.
He always has the flashy cars, isn't it? But yeah, this lady, her name's Jane Elliott. I think, do you know who she is? That Jane?
Yes,
Elliott?
yes.
So.
Blue eyes and brown eyes experiment.
Yes. And she created the blue eyes and brown eyes experiment. And this is basically that. She gets a group of people, all types of different people, different age groups, and she brings them in and she separates them when they first come in.
From brown eyes and blue eyes.
Yep.
That's the experiment.
And when I was watching the UK version of this experiment, which, by the way, it's actually a shock that the UK people were actually worse.
They were worse
than the
than
ones
the
in
Americans.
America. Yeah.
And she did it in the South,
Yeah.
in America. And, you know, with
It's
all their
serious,
segregation and Jim Crow and everything.
Yeah.
But not to cut into Tamar's conversation, but except to say this, people have to know. You see, when a man can grin his teeth with you, shake your hand, pat you on the back, and then still call you a black bastard, you have to know that that's dangerously serious. Because me, if I'm gonna be honest, I'd rather you tell me I don't want to shake your hand, come and I like you.
Yeah.
And one thing about Jamaicans will tell you to your face, yo, man, I shake your hand, come and I like you.
Exactly.
And those who didn't quite understand me, sorry. That's how it is. Right? Me not like you, me not gonna like you.
Yeah.
That's us. It's up front. But no, they're shaking your hand, patting you on the back. Oh, yes. You're my friend. And then, hey, if you're dying, they're helping you to die.
Yeah. Or when the time comes, they want to be your friend. And this is what lots of people have been writing on Facebook. They want to be your friend until it's time to stand up for you. Yeah.
And when they should stand up for you, they don't.
Silent, quiet, no talking are they even having. They're just keeping mute.
Keeping quiet.
Yeah.
They're not standing on your behalf.
No. And that's the thing. So, and they know that they have the white privilege, and they don't have to struggle the way we did, or in the things that we did.
Yeah. And when you're struggling and going through those things, they don't stand up on your behalf, or there's very few that do. Now, in this age, in 2020, we are seeing that there are some who are standing up. And the reason why, because it has gone too far.
Yeah.
And now people are sick and tired of it. And now they've seen that actually it's maybe common sense that's telling them, yo, if you don't stand up and stand against it, you're going to have a serious problem, because we have a militant set of people who will pull down everything and make you start again. And they don't care how long that statue has been there, or how long that structure has been there, or how long this has been in place. They will tear it down.
Yeah. And so it should be. Yeah, Angelica's exactly correct. Most white friends never liked black people. They only liked you. And that's what people used to say in school. Oh, you're all right, but I'm not really sure about them other black people, and all those types of comments. What does that even mean?
Well, when they used to tell me that, I used to thump them in their mouth straight.
I told them, I said, what are you talking about? That's what I'd say to them. Then they'd be, what are you talking about?
In my school days, I was straight roughneck.
Yeah.
Straight. Don't ramp with me, me thump you down.
Yeah, see, look, that's a quote from Jane Elliott.
Yes, that's right. Only one human race.
Yeah.
No racism in there.
She's such a good teacher, honestly. You need to have a look at that. I'll put a link for it.
People made their own isms.
Yeah, they did.
Right? But this is what we're suffering from. And the whole issue about it is that when from day one you've gone into school and you've been treated badly from day one.
Yeah. And you know what it's
from a small kid.
Yeah.
Right?
Young.
I went to school in the UK as a small kid, right? And here's this. When I went to school, the first school that I went to as an infant, there wasn't many blacks in the school by then. And I think I have my mum's spirit, I would say, and you're going to understand why. So when we went to this school, they had a policy there, no fighting, blah, 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 the usual that they have for school. So them white kids in the school could be carrying on with their antics, doing what they're doing. And because for some reason, and I don't know why, but they're just more undercover with their little dealings. Everything that they do is a little silent thing, and they do it undercover. Whereas everything we do is with noise. So if they're there, nick behind you, you're turning around and saying, "Shut up!" Yeah. Right. But whereas them, they're just.
And then.
I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything.
Time.
And so we went through this with the teachers and all that. So even at that young age there, I had to kick down enough people in school. And what they used to do, if you kick them, they take your shoes. So I used to bring 3 pairs of shoes to school. So that's why I'm telling you, man, I didn't joke. And I kick them down. They take the shoes, I put on the next one, I kick them down again. Put on the next one, I kick them down again. So now the headmistress of that school was proper racist. Her name was Mrs. Duffy. I even remember her to this day. Nasty, nasty racist woman. Used to treat all the black children in that school like poo.
No.
The nest, as we would call it.
I don't know what's going on.
You're saying it. No, it's all right.
Oh, it's connected.
And my mum said, good, she's coming to the school now. My mum said she's coming there and she's going to tell her what she needs to tell her.
Mhm.
So I never knew how this was going to go. My mum came there to cuss off the headmistress and tell her, treat all the children fairly,
Yeah.
right? Or don't bother any at all. Why are you singling out some? If my child is telling you that there are other children in the school who are kicking him and who are hitting him, why you disbelieve in him and you've only ever seen him kick somebody, but you've never seen them kicking him at any time? So Mrs. Duffy is there asking my mum, I can't remember the exact wording, but as if she said to her, are you stupid?
Mhm.
Hey! Sorry for you, Mrs. Duffy. I've never seen my mum like that. She climbed across that woman's desk and scraped her up with her head.
You see?
You see? And told her straight. And she didn't scream or shout. She had her by her hair now and pulled her head across the desk. Told her, I'm telling you straight. Do not and this is the word she used, do not disadvantage my children in this school again.
Exactly.
And don't pass your nest with me. You are bright, rank, stink, feisty, and out of order. That's what my mum said. I was little, but I remember it. What are you talking about? My mum was a star after that. What do you mean? And she just left it like that. That headmistress never gave me not even an inch of trouble again.
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing. But you see, from that time, little small Johnny, you're not this and you're not that and you're not that and you're not this. It's all there.
Yeah.
I was in London on a play scheme, right? A good dirty white boy came to me, you black bastard, ploo, and spat in my face. The spit is just there, on my face. I said, really? I said, don't worry, mate. So I just left him until I saw he was where I wanted him to be. I waited until when he sat on the climbing frame.
Mm-hmm.
So he's sitting on, they had them ones with the low bar where you can sit on the bar, right? So I waited until he sat on the climbing frame. I went over there, I booted him in his face. And he fell off the climbing frame and mashed up his head. And I said, that's what you get for spitting in my face, you dirty. So only one person got kicked off the play scheme, so you can guess.
Yeah, of course. And that was you, wasn't it?
Because I'm a troublemaker and all the rest that goes with it. And him is cool. He can just spit a dirty greenie in my face and get away with it. And call me a black bastard at our little 7 years old.
And all them things just encourage those white people to realize their privilege.
That they're privileged, that they're better, or they feel that they're better and they carry on with their behaviours.
Oh, shame. Look, I called him a black bastard and he got kicked off the thing after he punched me up. Do you know what I mean? This is what they see. So they think, oh, well, my behaviour is correct because it's being reinforced by teachers and adults.
That's right. So they're allowed to continue doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you do, I could sit here all day and give you all of these stories about the difference of white privilege, black privilege. It's all over.
It's all over the place.
It's all over. I mean, we've just mentioned only schooling, right? We've only mentioned schooling, but you can name so many other areas where the same thing applies. Even in my job as a prison officer, when I'm on the right side of the law, those people are jokers in there. On the right side of the law, as it were, but still. I remember one of the days they had forgotten that I was in the office because I was busy writing. And I was quiet, so they didn't know I was there. Or they'd forgotten because in any case, I was the only black officer in that prison at the time. So I was either both conspicuous and inconspicuous at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're busy talking, and they've said, yeah, we sorted out that black bastard. And I just cleared my throat. And then they all looked, because then they remembered John Chambers is there and what colour is he.
Yeah.
And everybody was dying.
Yep.
I didn't say one word. All I did was mark the faces of those who were there, and I said, good, I've got you now. And they were wondering if I'm going to report them or I'm going to do anything. I said, no, it's cool. I don't have nothing to say. No, John, we didn't mean it like that. I said, yes, you did.
Yeah.
I said, you forgot that I was here, and that's why you talked like that. Simple as that.
Because when we're not there, it's fine for them to say whatever they know that they don't want. They know that if they say those things, some of them, of course, are not as dumb as others, not as ignorant, and they know when to say them things and when not. So when they're in front of you, oh yeah, hi, you're right, yeah. Then when you've gone, oh, that black bastard, I don't even like her, blah 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 blah. That's what they do. That's what they do. And
these are the things about black and white privilege, because to them it was all right. It was just normal to be talking like that anyway. Yeah. But now they got caught out. Now you see, I didn't do anything about that. I just left them because I thought, we'll see. So there was another time, and back then people used to be allowed to smoke wherever. So they could smoke in the office. You could be in there doing your work, writing on the computer or whatever, and they could smoke. So we were in the outer office, which is surrounded with glass, so that when we're in there, we can see out and see what the prisoners are doing. So as we sat in the office, and I was writing, so I couldn't leave the office, in came this officer who's a racist pig. And he came in smoking. And I don't smoke. I didn't smoke then. And I said, can you go back outside with your cigarette? No, don't tell me what to do. You don't have to be in the office. I said, no, I don't have to be in the office, but don't come in here and smoke. If you want to smoke, go outside. So first thing he did, he went to because he thought it's white privilege, isn't it? I can't do nothing. He went to the window and he locked up the window. Right? And then carried on smoking. So I looked at him and I said to him, why have you closed the window?
Yeah.
I said, what are you trying?
Exactly.
He came over now. He leant over me.
Oh my gosh, Lord.
And blew the smoke in my face. And why did he do that? He did it, one, because he's white. Two, because he knew that we were in that office where everybody outside can see us. All the prisoners can see us. And any other staff that were out in the wing could see us. So he knew. There's nothing I'm going to do there.
Nothing you can do there, yeah.
But you see, I'm intelligent. I use my brain. So I said, good for you. I know what to do now. So I just watched him. I carried on doing what I was doing. I finished. I watched him where he was going up and down. Then I saw he went. We have an office next door where we have all the records of the prisoners. And in that office, it's a closed office. There's no windows because that's where we do private work that we don't want anybody to be able to see. So he went next door. So I looked around, I didn't see anyone, but I flew in that office behind him and I locked the door from the inside and locked me and him inside. I said, good. I said, now you blew smoke in my face and you locked the window up in the office and you blew smoke in my face.
Yeah.
I said, so here now is my response to what you did. And I grabbed him by his throat and I mashed up his head in the lockers. Right? I said, if you like, you can report me. Yeah. I said, let's see where it will go. I said, there's no witnesses in here. And so I gave him another one just to remind him. Report me if you like. And I left the office. So later on, I was called to the wing governor's office. He said, oh, Mr. Chambers, how are you? So I said, why? I said, I'm fine. I said, don't I look fine? He said, yes, you do look fine. He said, are you having any problems? I said, no. I said, I'm not having any problems at all. I said, why? Who told you don't have any problems? He said, well, you know, if you have any problems, you're supposed to come and report them to us. I said, so which problem is it that I've been having that I need to report? He said, well, I'm not saying that you are. And you see this again, because this is them going around in their little circle. He said, but I would just suggest that you don't try to take matters into your own hands in the future. I said, really? I said, I don't know what you mean. I said, me, I'm cool. I said, if anybody's got anything to report, they should say, then we deal with it. He said, no, I'm just reminding you not to take matters into your own hands. And he left it like that. So that was that. So now that same guy decided that he was going to now take time to start writing things about me.
No.
Now, when you work with people for a while, and especially back then when, you know, we used to write things, we used to handwrite a lot of things, you recognize your colleagues' handwriting quite easily.
Yeah.
So when we used to go on exercise with the prisoners, if the weather was a little bit inclement, so to speak, there'd be boxes where we will sit. So we will go inside the box so we're not getting wet or too cold or whatever. And we'll watch them outside doing their exercise when they're walking around. So inside the box now, this guy began to write all these things. Oh, there's only one black shit officer here and blah, blah, blah. Writing all these things. Where's the... So he's writing all these things. Right? And I said, oh, it's like that, eh?
He was writing all these like vandalizing.
He was vandalizing the box, but writing all racist comments because he's referring obviously to me.
Yeah. So
I said, oh, this is very interesting. So I left it for a while. Now, bear this in mind that every officer who does exercise with the prisoners at some point in time will go in that box.
Yeah.
There was only one white officer in the whole of that prison at the time, and that was me. All the other staff were white, every single one of them. So everybody else, whoever would have gone on exercise, will have read all the racist comments that this guy had written on that on the inside.
Nobody's.
And it got to the point where I said, you know what, I've had enough of this. So I decided now I'm going to respond. So I wrote, because they left it, they didn't do anything.
Cleaned it off.
They didn't clean it, they didn't repaint it or anything, was just left, and nobody complained.
You see what I mean?
So now I said, good. So I wrote, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to give you the exact wording of what I wrote. So God bless you, God help us, but this is how it was. I said, if you want to be a pussy, and you want to be writing things like that there, I said, you know that I know who you are because I know your handwriting, right? I said, and furthermore, me, I'm not hiding. Yeah. So anytime you're man enough and you want to come and tell me to my face what you have to say face to face, then do that. But don't be a little girl and be writing on the box. Signed, John R.J. Chambers. I put my full name there. Right?
Did they spring to action?
All of a sudden, there was a governor's notice that came out to all officers. Can all staff refrain from writing graffiti in the box? That was the governor's notice.
That's it.
And then, within a few days later, every box repainted.
You see the rubbish.
You see? But me one by myself, I had to get mad.
Yeah.
And say what I'm saying. Right? Before. When he's putting all these racist black shit, this and all the other, they've got nothing to say.
They're not repainting it.
Not a word was said until I had to tell them what I had to tell them. And they're calling it graffiti. When my man put what he put there, it wasn't graffiti. But when I put what I put and signed my name to it as well, because I'm not scared of them. I told them at the end of the day, if you're coming for me, come. Because I want to see what you're going to do.
Exactly.
You see?
No, man.
Because, of course, there's nothing. We couldn't take pictures because you don't have phones in the prison. So there's nothing you can do anyway.
Yeah.
But I know they know what was written there. They're not blind. And the governor would have seen it. But what I wrote was graffiti. But what my man wrote before, it wasn't graffiti. It was all right. Because at the end of the day, there's only one black man there, and it doesn't matter if he's offended.
Yeah.
My offence wasn't important.
Yeah, because there was no one else black there. And this is what they do. As soon as you are, because we were speaking about this at the park, you know, when I went to the park with my friends. We remembered something that happened when we were in high school. And it was that this girl was in class, and she was the only black person in that class, I think. Yeah, she was the only black person in that class. And there was other girls in the class, and they were drawing pictures, you know, like of each other. So they're drawing pictures of each other, and the girl has drawn the picture of the friend, and she's done the lips big. Yeah. Then she's given it to the friend and said, "Oh yeah, that's you." You know, they're laughing. Then the friend has said, "Oh no, that's not me. I don't have nigger lips." That's what she said. Yeah, that's what she said. And
I don't have nigger lips.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't have nigger lips. And I know for a fact that they said it like that. She said she was so open to say it because there was only one small black person in the class. Because the girl that was in the class, well, she was short. She's very small. And I think she felt intimidated because there's all these other white girls that are being openly racist, and she's just there by herself. So anyway, she came and told us, came and informed us. So now, after we heard that, we said, "Ah, really? Good." Yeah, they were all of them were in our maths class, because back then we were segregating male and female for the classes. So they were in our class, so it was all girls. So, and I think this day as well, we were getting put in a new seating plan or something like that. Anyway, we came into the class, and of course we started arguing with them because we said, you know, "You're racist, blah, blah, blah." Then the teacher came and said, "Oh, what's all this? What's going on? You know, stop arguing, stop fighting," and has taken one of the girls out. And my friend Safi, she was obviously there. She was arguing hard with this girl, and then the teacher's been like, "Oh," basically trying to tell her, you know, "You need to calm down," type of thing. Then he's taken them both outside now to have a conversation about what's happened. And this is only one girl. It's not the whole group of girls as well that he's talking to. So he's taken her outside, and then they're speaking. And from what you could see from the inside of the classroom, there's like a glass on the door. And you could see Safi facing this way, but you couldn't see the white girl. And Safi's face was just like this, yeah. So I was like, I wonder what's going on out there. And then she just came back in and came and sat down and was just silent. So after class, I asked, "Oh, well, what happened outside?" And she said that the girl was crying to her and was saying, "Oh, you know, I'm so sorry for what I said," and all of this.
Okay.
And Safi said that she was looking at her like that because to her it's crocodile tears, and she's not interested. Now, that whole incident, do you think the school did anything? Do you think anything happened? Did we get called anywhere to discuss what happened? No. Did any teacher come to call anyone or see what was going on? Nothing. Nothing. Not one report, not one question, nothing. After that day of her little fake apology and crying, that was it. Swept under the rug, never ever discussed again. Yeah, and this is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the white privilege, because like I said to you the other week, when I was arguing with that boy and I went to go hit him and all those things, I got dragged to the office fast. Yeah, and then even they're trying to tell me I must accept his apology. All these things show you the white privilege, because why did they not discuss that situation? That was a serious situation. Somebody say, "No, I've not got nigger lips." That is disgusting. Yeah,
that's very disgusting.
Very disgusting. And no one ever discussed it. And I will never forget that. I can't ever forget that. And none of my friends either will ever forget that, because the level of disgustingness. And the school did nothing. Nothing. We didn't even discuss it or even talk about why what they said was wrong or anything. Nothing. Nothing. And there's many instances like that in that school that I went to. They never ever really tackled the level of racism, because there was a lot of ignorant white people there. A lot.
Because I think there's also a feeling with many white people that we're tough. Black people are tough, and we are tough, by the way.
Yeah, we are.
Because we have suffered the most and stood against the most and gone through the most, and we're still standing. So yes, we're tough. But even though the fact that we're tough, that doesn't mean that we should continue to be beaten.
Exactly.
Or that we should continue to even accept to be beaten in whichever way, whether it be psychologically, emotionally, or physically. Why should we continue to be beaten? We should not. That in itself is like almost another topic that we will try, we'll come to. But the one thing that I do want to say about that is the fact that they think that, oh well, they can handle it.
Yeah. And
so they overlook some of the pain.
Yeah.
Now, had it was the other way around, it is the biggest issue in the world.
Yeah.
I'll give another example. When I was working in the mental health, in a hospital, there was a patient who, I would say, basically it was out of ignorance at the time, and I really literally would say that it was ignorance. This particular patient did not know black people, had never met a black person, because I was working at that time in a very wide area, and this patient had never met a black person face to face. She'd only seen them on TV.
Yeah.
She came from a little estate, and she knew the people of her estate, and she'd grown up in the same town, got married in the same town, just moved around the corner, and was still living there. And she'd never met a black person face to face. So she started carrying on, black people are this, black people are that, silverback gorillas and I don't know what, and all kind of things. So I looked at her and I said to her, can you shut up?
Yeah.
Why? I said, because I'm offended by what you're saying and I don't want to hear that.
Exactly.
Right? I said, and I don't find it appropriate and it's not acceptable, so you need to shut up. Or if you don't want to shut up, go and say it somewhere else where I can't hear you. I said, but I'm not going to tolerate that in front of me. I said, because at the end of the day, you very well know that you're talking to a black man, so keep quiet. So the other staff were looking because they didn't expect me to challenge her like that. I said, and it ain't going to stop here either. Now, none of the white staff said a word. That none of them challenged her. None of them called me and said, John, we're sorry that she spoke to you like that. There was nothing, no support whatsoever. And this is in mental health. And so I thought, this is nothing new. So I thought, this is noted. So then later, she wanted to go shopping. And she's a difficult patient that they can't control. So they now came to me and said, we've put you down to take her shopping. And I said, you must be joking.
Could you imagine?
I said, that's never going to happen. I'm not taking her anywhere today. Why not? I looked at the nurse in charge and I said to her, you're asking me why not? I said, are you actually okay in your head?
Yeah.
And she looked at me completely lost.
Yeah.
Literally lost. She didn't have a clue.
Understand.
What in the world are you talking about? I said, did you not hear how she spoke to me earlier? Yeah, but that was earlier. And you know that, these guys are not well. And, they can say many things that they don't. I said, no, I'm not accepting that. I said, I also am a person. I'm a human being with feelings. I said, and she hurt my feelings, right? I said, I have a right to be respected.
Yeah.
I don't come to work, irrespective of how much I'm paid or what reason I'm here for. I do not come to work to be abused, and I'm not accepting it, and I will not take her out. Oh, well, we're going to have to speak to the manager. I said, by all means, you go and do that.
Speak to them, man.
So now the manager also is a white woman, but as it happened, she had also heard the conversation from her office, but hadn't intervened because she's in her office.
Yeah. So
they called her and she came out and she said, no. She said, John doesn't have to go anywhere with that lady.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, until now, there was no apology. No, John, are you cool? Are you okay? The staff had nothing to say. They were just now upset because I wouldn't take the lady and they had to do
Someone
it.
else had to do it. Yeah.
And whilst I worked on that ward, every time she opened her mouth and said the wrong thing, I challenged her.
Mhm.
I challenged her until I got to the point where she said, well, okay then, tell me what's wrong with what I'm saying. And I said to her, if you really want to know, we'll sit down and we'll talk about it.
Mhm.
And this is a mental health patient, a person who's suffering from mental illness, who can be very erratic, but she sat down with me on several occasions and we talked through the whole thing to the point where I became her favorite member of staff.
You see,
I became the person who she always wanted to go out with.
you didn't want no one else.
When I'm the first one on shift and she hasn't found me, she's looking for me in the morning when she's up. Where's John? And every time she went out, they came straight to me, John, can you take her?
Mhm.
But had I not continuously challenged her mouth
And her mindset.
and her mindset and her behavior, would have never got to that point. But the staff, who should know better and should behave better, they didn't care.
No.
They still, until this day, will have the same racist mindset, the same racist behavior,
Yep.
and the same racist attitudes that they already had and will ever have.
Mhm.
And that really is the crux of what is the white privilege versus the black disadvantage.
Yeah.
Because I didn't ask for that. I didn't go there for that.
Exactly.
And because they're all white and it didn't affect them, they didn't care,
Yeah.
none of them could support me.
Yeah.
Well, what difference does it make that
And that's what it
she said all
always
those
is.
things to you? She's not well.
But
That's
so
it.
what? She was well enough to be remembering to say all these things and to keep that same mindset and all those things. So that's what they say about those dementia patients. don't they? About a lot of the white ones are very racist to the black carers that take care of them and all this. And
that they'll attack people and all of this.
Mhm.
But interestingly enough, they know who to box and who not to box. They don't box everybody.
Because one lady wrote a story on Twitter saying that this people kept saying to her, oh, you know, she's just not well. She doesn't know what she's doing. But the woman said that when the white nurse would come, she was the most loveliest, kind person, hugging the nurse, you know. Oh, she's even doing little drawings for her and all these things. Now when the black one comes, you black and nigger, bleh, 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 and all of this.
Because it's in their spirit
throwing
already.
her drink at her and all these things.
It's already in their spirit.
Yeah.
And the problem is that staff who go through such things and work in such environments are hardly ever supported.
Yeah.
So there becomes a disparity in treatment.
Yeah.
From day one, the way that you're treated at work compared with the way that your colleagues are treated. And this is white privilege versus black disadvantage.
Yep.
It's from day one.
Yeah.
They're not going to treat you the same.
Yeah. They won't treat you the same. I remember in school one time, right? And my friends actually were laughing at this because one white boy said in the class, I don't know what they were talking about. I don't know if it was the school dinner, I think. Yeah, that was it. And the boy said, yeah, let me guess, you'll be getting chicken for your dinner today. To me. And I said to the teacher, I turned to the teacher and I said, sir, that's racist. And he said, no, it isn't. That's not racist. And I said, oh.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
What would you call it then?
That's what I said. I said, so what is it then? It might be a bit discriminative, but it's not racist.
Same thing.
I said, all right. I said, so is it all right for me to say white people love their roast dinner then? Then he said, oh, well, that's racist. I said,
Really?
how?
I remember when you told me about this.
I said,
they're the same, but all of a sudden they've made it different.
Yeah.
How is it different? And where is the difference?
It's exactly the same thing. Me saying white people love their roast dinner and white people saying black people love their chicken. It's the same thing. You're both doing the same thing. Yeah, you're discriminating. So why is the white one racism? But then when I'm saying it, when the white boy's saying it, it's not racist.
It's not racist.
Yeah.
And what my nephew said there, white people would be in for a shock if they woke up black tomorrow. Yes, they would be absolutely in for a shock. Because there's so many of them that would not believe what they would face.
And that's why I'm telling
they
you.
would be shocked to death.
Watch that
not
experiment.
even people, the way they look at you.
Mm,
They've never even spoken to you yet, but just even the way
They're
they
just
look,
looking
the
and
attitude, all of those
doing all
things
these
that
things
we have lived through every day.
every day,
You know,
every single day.
last thing I'm going to say, and then we're done for today.
Mhm.
I remember as a youth growing up, and for me, I wasn't interested whether you're black or you're white. Me no business. Everybody is cool until you're not.
Mm,
So I tried a few times, but I'm going to have a white girlfriend, you know, because I'm like just trying to just be normal.
yeah.
And just a girlfriend is a girlfriend.
Girlfriend, yeah.
So, mostly the girls were not the issue, but the parents were the issue.
Of course.
I remember one girl, she wasn't even a girlfriend. I mean, you know, I was young, teenager and all that. So no big thing ain't going on anyway. You know, it's just a little friendship.
Yes.
You just get a bit closer, you know what I mean, to one person than another, like that.
Mhm.
Something like that. So this particular girl, me and her were very, very close. I used to go walk her home from school. We walked together. Sometimes in the morning I'd meet her and we go to school together. But mostly it was evening when we're coming back. And then, you know, once I've gone home, I'd come back to her house. You know, we'd do homework together, spend time together like that, all this. So the mother, the first thing she asked, why do you have to bring him in the house? She's like, what do you mean?
Exactly.
You know who he is. It's John. He's from school. He's my friend.
Yeah.
Why is he your friend?
Well, why not?
And the mum is saying all of this blatantly in front of me.
You see what I mean?
Right? So she's not saying it's because he's black, but that's what she wanted to say. So I didn't even pick up initially that that's what she meant. I just thought she's just a nasty old cow. Right? So I didn't get it. But the girl had two older sisters. And both of them came flying down the stairs and said to the mum, why are you so racist? And obviously they know their mum, so they know what she meant.
Yeah.
So why are you being like that? And she wouldn't sit in the same room as me. Whenever I used to come there, she'd be vexed, or she'd let out the little smelly dog on me. They had this little dog. If I say the name, then some people might know who the person is. I almost said the name of the dog. They had this little small, ugly dog. She used to let the dog out on me. The dog had the same spirit as the mother. And would come there like it wants to bite me and I have to kick down the dog.
Yeah.
Right? So she'll have to be taking the dog off with her where she's going. If we sat in the sitting room, she'll go down into the kitchen. If we go down into the kitchen, she'll go in the sitting room. If we go anywhere else, she'll go to her bedroom. She couldn't stand the sight of me. Just angry all the time that her white daughter chose to be friendly with me, this black boy. Angry. There was another girl who was my friend, good friend. I used to spend a lot of time with her, and she used to tell me the same thing all the time. If you walk me home from school, leave me at the corner. You can't come to my front door. My mum and dad would go mad.
Yeah.
Go mad for what?
Because you're black.
You see? But we just shrugged those things off and we got on with it. We took it and we got on with life.
You just carry on with life.
You know, we shrugged it off.
Because and the thing is, the funniest thing is, white people will, when they are the first, they are the first, to cry and moan when something discriminative like that happens to them. Then it's, oh, this is such an injustice. But when it's us, oh, it's not that. You know, that was just one person. That's it. That's just them. It's not everyone. That's what they all like to say. We're not all like that. It's not all of us. And we know it's not all of you. But it's still quite a lot. And the fact that we have to go through these things all the time, and all of us, it's not just, a few of us or most of us. It's every black person. I don't know not one, and whoever is saying that a black person is saying that they haven't had that, I don't know where you've been living. You're lying.
They're lying.
Yeah, you're lying.
They're lying.
You're lying, and you're a coconut, because every black person has
been through that.
Been through these things.
And even when we've tried to get round it, to circumvent it, as it were. It's very difficult to do because you're up against the system, right? And this is the issue. You're up against the system.
Yeah.
I've had fathers of white girls come flying into the room calling me a black bastard because I'm in the house, sat down chatting with his daughter, and he doesn't want me to be there. One white man came flying into the kitchen. We sat drinking coffee. The white man has run into the kitchen and start calling me a black bastard and a black rapist and all of this. I had to clap up the man in his kitchen, in his own kitchen.
Shame.
Right? I had to lick him down in his own kitchen. Because at the end of the day, I didn't come there for that. And there's nothing I was doing except drinking coffee. But my black self mustn't be in his house. And these are things that we put up with every day. You see? And then people wonder why are you talking about this? Why is it an issue? It's an issue because it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
That we have this continuously going on in our lives, that we are continuously. We've talked some of the statistics. There's a whole lot more. You know, I didn't want to go too deep into all of that statistical analysis, because stories are also good, and these stories that I've told, they are real. They're my reality.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that many other people have the same kind of reality of what they have gone through and what they are still going through, suffering at the hands of the police. You know, we've said already, black boys are 3 times more likely to be stopped and searched, 9.6 times more likely to be imprisoned than whites. These figures are astounding. They are 3 to 4 times more likely to be detained under the Mental Health Act.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that in any of those settings where I've worked in secure mental hospitals. I've worked in just acute psychiatric wards. I've worked in prison. And in all those settings, the treatment of black people is far worse than the treatment of white people, even when they have committed exactly the same crime, if it's a crime, or when they're under the same auspices of whatever illness it may be. Their treatments are not equal. They are treated differently, and there is a vast amount of difference in how they are looked after, and the expectations, even the aggression levels that they are subjected to, is all different. And simply because of the color of your skin, they treat you as a black person differently. They already expect you to be more aggressive, so they are more aggressive to you. They're more quicker to restrain and inject the black patients than the white ones. All these things are reality.
Yeah.
They're more quicker to punish them and leave them for longer in isolation and segregation. These are all the issues. And these things I know at first-hand knowledge from having worked in there. That there is a disparity in the treatment between the blacks and the whites.
Yeah.
And the staffing is also the same thing. The white staff have a different behavior, a different attitude, a different mindset towards those white patients, prisoners, etc. It's a reality of life that we have to deal with. And so every day we have to equip our children who are growing up so that they understand. Because sometimes it will be confusing to them.
Yeah.
They will wonder, why have I been treated differently?
Yeah.
And they don't know why. Why do these white people not like me? They don't understand even. You know, because children are just innocent and they think, well, I like everybody, so everybody should like me.
Yeah, what's going on?
But suddenly you see that there's a difference. They're being treated differently. They've been treated in a nasty manner.
Yeah.
They've got bad attitudes coming towards them and they don't know why. So we have a duty to educate our children and young people, you know, educating our young men.
Yeah.
When you have encounters with the police, there's a certain way and style that you're going to have to adopt.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're conforming or that now you're scared or that, you know, you're weak or anything like that. but you need to get out of that encounter in one piece.
Yeah. You need to
And
protect
by
your
getting out
life.
in one piece, we need you to protect your life.
Mhm.
We need you to protect your integrity.
Mhm.
So for those of you who know you're not a criminal, you've committed no crime, stay cool, man.
Yeah.
You know, and when they're running their mouth and carrying on with themselves, because there's many police that do that.
Oh,
They do it on purpose because they
it's
want to
provoking.
provoke you and antagonize you. Just leave them.
Yeah, just ignore.
You know, I've seen so many cases of where I've seen people and they're, you know, fighting up themselves. Don't tell me, don't touch me, blah,
Jumping
blah, blah.
around.
And carrying on them like, you know, you could have just not bothered.
Yeah.
Just tell them what they're saying. And yes, we know there are cases where people have done nothing and they've still killed them and hurt them and injured them, which proves the point that when you are doing something, it gives them
It's
more
even
opportunity.
Yeah. More.
You know,
opportunity.
those who know God, let the grace of God work on your behalf.
Mhm.
It has worked for me since I was born until now.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of encounters with the police. And yet I've worked with police. I've worked as a prison officer. I've been on the right side of the law. And yet I've still had plenty of encounters with the police.
Yeah.
So even for others, I understand. But if we want to teach our young men to be militant, they've got to be militant in the right area. Right? Pulling down statues is fine, but you need to do more than just that.
Mhm.
So if all you're doing is busy going around pulling down statues of
What next?
nasty white men, what are you going to do after you've pulled down the statues?
Yeah.
Your militancy has to have some purpose.
Of course.
You see? You know, what are you, and then the question then that we'll ask, what are you going to do to make the life better for those black people who are coming behind you?
Yeah.
And some people have absolutely no answer.
Yeah, they don't.
There's nothing that they can say because, you know, we don't know. We just know that this is wrong and we're protesting. Okay, it's wrong and you're protesting, but what next?
Yeah. What are we
What
gonna
next?
do? Because
We know that we are at a disadvantage. So what next?
How are we going to
Damon.
equal that? Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, people need to be educated and understand that, yes, like I said, me and Dad have different opinions on the on the monument getting dragged down. But I think maybe I have that opinion because I also know that more needs to be done than just dragging down that monument. Yeah, for me, maybe, I guess, yeah, for me, the monument is like it's a symbol of dragging down the systematic oppression,
the systemic racism.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people need to educate themselves 100%. Education, read,
and
Read.
educate others.
Yeah, read and educate others, because whenever I get the chance to, I always educate somebody on topics about things. So if somebody's saying something about, I don't know, something in history and it's not correct, or they only know the warped version, because guess what, people, the history is warped. Seriously,
very, very much. The history that we've been taught over the years, especially if you've had English schooling, the history that you were taught in English schools and by the English system is a lie.
Yeah, it's
that's not the reality. It's not the truth.
The reality at all.
And hence why people are now jumping up to defend people like Winston Churchill. Don't even go there. Forget it.
No.
You can't defend those people, because the reality of who they are and what they've done is in front of us. For instance, you know, what they did when Rwanda wanted independence, they took those two tribal factions, the Tutsis and the Hutu. The Tutsis were the minority tribe, and they deliberately put the Tutsis in power over the Hutu, who were the majority tribe. Why did they do that? Because they knew that it will cause an internal war.
Yeah.
And that war saw the slaughter of an unfathomable amount of people, and the devastation that was in Rwanda, which was caused by colonialism.
Yeah.
They knew.
They
did the same thing when they knew they had to let go of India. And again, anybody who thinks I'm talking rubbish, go and study the history. All the information is there. They knew they had to let go of India, so they said, right, if we have to let go of India, we'll wreck it before we let go of it.
Yep.
So they annexed it and made Bangladesh on one side there, and then Pakistan in the north, and the rest of it was India, and it was all India before. And they said, let's divide and conquer.
Yeah, because that's exactly.
Give Pakistan in the north to the Muslims.
Yeah.
Give Bangladesh in the east to the Bengali Muslims, and the rest of India to the Hindus.
Yeah, to the Hindus.
And it was them that cut it up in portions like that.
And still till now they have.
Right, and they've done it, to other countries the same. They tried the same with Kenya. That's why they had the Mau Mau uprising.
You see.
And Mau Mau, what it stands for, telling the white man go back to Europe. That's what the MAU stands for, the beginning of Muzungu Aenda Ule. Go back to Europe.
Yeah.
You see? They do divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And they would still try to be doing the same thing to this day.
Oh, you know.
So when we're celebrating certain things, I'm not interested in celebrating those things. Oh, did you know Christopher Columbus didn't discover nothing.
Discover Jack.
He's a lying Italian geezer who went to go and make money through the Spanish and went and even was sailing the wrong direction.
Yeah, he went even to the right place.
The man got lost
and ended up there and said,
look what I've discovered the land.
Because he saw them thriving. That's why. And
he saw that
there's
land.
Thriving.
The land was thriving. There's people already there. This is a money-making thing.
So, this is it.
You see?
And he tried. And the thing is, he didn't just try once. Because if people don't even know, Jamestown, go and search and have a look what that is and what happened.
You have to understand, there's a lot that had been hidden. And in this day and age, it's not so hidden. People need to know. So we're not advocating hate. That's not what this is about. We don't want to hate white people or any other people of whoever you are. But what we do want to do is to make sure that everybody knows everything.
The reality.
That you know the reality, so that you have all the facts in front of you. It's like a judge. The judge wants all of the facts in front of him in order to make a fair and accurate judgment.
Exactly.
And if we want to make a fair and accurate judgment, we need all of the facts in front of us. Not only that, but for Black people in particular, especially young people, we need this information for identity.
Yeah.
Because the biggest problem that young Black people have is a lack of identity. Yeah. Where do I fit? Who am I?
What do I do?
And we need all of that. We need our identity. We need to be able to know I fit here and this is who I am. Whether it be that you decide that you fit into the worldwide scheme of it, or you understand it on a country level, but you need that sense of belonging. Right? It's actually part of the human needs to have that sense of belonging. And when you're being told such things as don't fit here, go back to your country. There are people who are born here and they've been told go back to their country. Which country is that then? Because what it means, they're talking to your roots. Yeah. And some of those people don't know their roots. They don't even know where they came from. So it's such a
this Native American girl was in a shop in America. This is just like 2 days ago, 2 days ago, a video surfaced because the man started recording. This white lady was in the shop and she was arguing with the girl. And imagine that the white lady doesn't even own the shop, and she's telling the cashier man, "Don't serve her. We don't serve you here." to the Native American girl. So the girl, of course, is arguing, saying, "Who are you? You don't own this place." Yeah. Then she said, "Why don't you go back to your country?" She said, "I am in my country. Why don't you go back to yours?" She said, "Where are your ancestors from?" Then
and
the lady
there where her
quiet.
ancestors are
the
from.
lady's quiet, not saying anything. Yeah. Yeah. She's seen it. Yeah. Then the woman came and tried to, so she slapped her.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know
slapped her.
Because she's telling her absolute raw truth. And this is the thing. Whether the boxing part of it is your thing, but but me nowadays, I box people with my words.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not too much into the...
Yeah, well, she was young, so, you know.
Because
it's not a shock.
for me, it's not really helpful. But we can't keep quiet, and we won't keep quiet. So we're going to end it because we're just on 1 hour and 50 minutes. It's long. We've been chatting
it's
long.
a long one today. Gosh.
You know, we had a lot to say, and by God's grace, I think we've said it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone who has stayed with us.
Yeah.
And I know there'll be many who will watch this in their own time and comment as you like.
Comment as you
share it, share it, share it, and share it.
And people, please watch that documentary by Jane Elliott.
Jane Elliott.
I'm not joking.
If you've never looked at that sociological experiment that she did, it's very good. And we're coming again next week.
Oh yeah, somebody got
we will let you know. It'll probably be on the Tuesday or Thursday again next week, and we'll let you know the next topic. I'm looking at probably moving slightly forward. My next question, because it's a question that came up in my mind while we were talking today. How do we repair ourselves? It's in a sense, it's a dangerously big topic. Because again, I'm still speaking to Black people, and so that's maybe the question that we might come with next week. How do we repair the damage? How do we repair the disadvantage? How do we repair ourselves? Because, you know, we need to both look at the protest as one side of things, but we also need to look at how we move forward. How we move forward effectively, and how we build a platform for others to step on. I'm doing this deliberately, bringing my daughter on, who's a different generation from me, deliberately, so that the world becomes used to her as well as me. Because after a while, which I hope it will be still a good long while yet, I might stop talking. I remember once, in fact, there was a lady, she said to me, you talk too much. But, you know, I talk too much because this is the gift that God gave me.
I've been called chatterbox from birth.
She's not my only child, but this is the gift that God gave her from me, the mouth. So we must talk. We must talk. And I remember that initially she would be saying, well, it's not very confident to speak, but anyway, she's here. And I'm sure you guys don't agree with her about not being confident. So it's like that. Me, I can speak and preach in any setting. I don't have any problem. But this is the point, because I want to make this a platform where young people especially will feel powerful and empowered. So we don't know where this will go. We don't know how many people will watch. You know, we know, I think last week's one, we had like some 650 odd people that viewed it. And I pray God that many people will view this. We've now put it on YouTube Live as well. And, you know, we're doing it raw at the moment. There's no professional camera angling and no this and that. It's raw. We're just doing it the way we do. We're going to start, and I'm going to start coming with some other things, because I want to speak to people a bit more directly than I have done, because now we're just talking about the issues and the peripheries. We want to start talking to people about themselves and about what they're doing, because this really is all about, what are you, Black man and Black woman, what are you doing for yourself and for your community and for your people, for your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren? Because we want to break this cycle of disadvantage. And it's as simple as that. That's what this is all about. That if that's what God will give me the grace to do, to help somebody to break this disadvantage. Hi, Nola. To break the disadvantage and to become better, then that we will have achieved something. Right?
Exactly.
Because it's not just talking for the sake of it. Oh yeah, I can get on Facebook Live and I can talk because I'm a speaker. I'm used to talking. Praise God, I'm used to talking. That's right. But that's not why I'm here. I'm provoking things in people deliberately, so that you'll begin to think about your life, think about the lives of your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and about your fellow Black man and Black woman, what's going on, and what are we going to do about it? How are we going to empower ourselves and see ourselves rise to a level
Yeah.
rise above poverty, rise above lack,
Mm.
and all of these things. And we can do it.
Yes, we can.
There's some work involved, and it actually takes more. Sorry, Tamar, but it takes more than just pulling down statues.
Yeah, of course.
All right?
Of course it does.
That's up to you guys. If you want to pull down the statues, pull them down. Because I don't care whether I see them or I don't see them. But you must know that it takes more than just pulling down the statues.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things that do have to be put in place.
Yes.
In yourself and in your community.
Mm.
For yourself and for your community.
Yeah.
God bless you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.